In this chapter, I'll show you how to save massive amounts of time recording and editing your voiceovers. If you're starting out, you may feel this is a bit of a luxury. You just want to know what to actually do first. But trust me, you don't want to get into bad habits. If you start by learning the keyboard commands, even if you're not used to doing things this way, you'll soon pick this method up and you honestly will save loads of time. If you start doing things the old-fashioned way, searching out sub menus, with your mouse every time you need something to do regularly, and then you write down on paper where to find them, well, look, you really don't want to be doing that. Before we get into actually programming shortcuts and me giving you my own recommended shortcut list aimed squarely at the voice artist, let's just do an actual job. So here's a script I've been asked to record. I'll simply go into it and record it straight away, although, of course, in real life you'd do many other things as well to check out durations and see if there's any words you don't know how to pronounce, but I'll do that in big detail later on. So first of all, we'll just go to Audition. It's a completely blank screen. We could start by going File, New, Audio File, and then choose, but we're not going to do that. Let's try and do everything on the keyboard shortcuts. So it's Control, or Command, hold down, plus Shift, plus N. Those three together will be your best friends. Then we call it what it is, we call it Nero, and we go OK, and there we see something all ready to record. Now, to record, we could click the little tape recorder record button down here, but we're not going to do that either. We're going to simply go the Shift key and spacebar. So we're now recording. This is all rubbish. We're going to cut this out later. Doesn't matter, does it? Because it's all easy. Let's flip over to the script and start recording. Come join us at the Mentorship Forum Middle East, a first of its kind Now, let's do a deeper voice, I think. Come join us at the Mentorship Forum Middle East, a first of its kind regional event brought to you by Finmar Communications in strategic partnership with Tamkeen and the National Bank of Bahrain. With more than 200 expected attendees, this is an exciting opportunity to join business leaders, senior HR experts, and top mentorship and development coaches. I said mentorship badly. Pick up after leaders. Senior HR experts and top mentorship and development coaches to learn more about harnessing the power of mentorship. So we assume that using the third head technique that I mentioned on another course, you've monitored yourself. If it's only you in the studio and no one else to shout at you, you go back to Audition and you stop recording by pushing the spacebar. So that's everything we've recorded there. Now, you'll notice that bit is rubbish because that's when I was talking to you. But just to be ultra sure, we just click anywhere in it and push spacebar. We're now recording. Oh, yeah. This is all rubbish. So now we click to hear the beginning of what we were recording. Come join us at the Mentorship Forum Middle East. And that was the old voice. So we know, really, without even playing this next bit, you've just got to drag to the left. So you click left, drag to the left. The highlighted section has got to go. Push the delete key on the keyboard. It's gone. Come join us at the Mentorship Forum Middle East. Okay, that's fine. Now, we're doing this quite fast, but I would go through and check breaths and things, but we've got a whole section on breaths. This is the next bit where it's obvious. You can see on the waveform there's an issue. So, first of all, we see where we come back. Senior HRX on the word senior. So where would senior be? Would it be there? Would it be there? What do you think? And top mentor? No, it wasn't there. It was here, wasn't it? Senior 8. And you can see by the shape of the waveform. See the shape of that one on the left here? That's very similar to the senior shape there. So soon you won't need to click and listen. You'll just look for the waveforms and the obvious things. And when you do make a mistake, make sure that you either cough or leave a gap, because then you can see the gaps. The longer the script is, the longer the gap you need to leave. And that's no problem at all, because you can take a sip of water, whatever. When you see the gap, you know that's somewhere that you need to edit. First of all, senior HR expert. Okay, and you just play the whole thing. Join business leaders. Senior HR. Okay, that's fine. Mentorship. So we assume that using, okay, that's all fine. And so we know that's the end bit there. So I'm just going to highlight that and push delete again. But this concerns me here. Our communications. I'm now going by pushing the plus key in and we see, or I could use the scroll bar, just worried about that breath there. You see, it's a bit of a loud breath, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is push the F key, that's the fade. And previously I was boosting something. This time I want to get to about 10, 11 dBs out. So I go apply on there or just enter, and suddenly it's gone. I haven't made it silent, that would be the X key. The F key just simply fades the breath down to something that is less obvious. Smart communications. In strategic part, so the breath is still there, so it still sounds natural. If I had cut it out completely, as I'll show you later on, it would just sound rubbish. So that's the full recording, and we know the full duration of the thing because highlighting it, we can see down there, it's 28.596 seconds long, which is fine for a 30-second advert. And now we're going to push 1. This will normalize it. It was done last time at -3, so this time it will be. So you don't have to muck about with the menu. You simply click apply, or better still, enter. It is now normalized to -3. And then we push the 2 key, and that brings up the multiband compressor that's set up for me and Katie Brody. So we simply go enter again. Look at the waveform. Now it sounds very nicely compressed. Come join us at the Mentorship Forum Middle East. Now just think how fast all that would have been if I hadn't been chatting to you. It would have been dead easy. You would have done all of that in about a minute. I would still tidy it up if this was a real job. There's still, for example, a breath there I'm not quite sure about. I probably would push the F there. And you see, pushing F again gets you back to the amplify, it's called, but it also obviously takes stuff away as well. And it's still stuck on what we did before. It always remembers what you did before. Am I going to click there? No, I'm just going to push the enter key. And there we are. It's reduced the breath enormously. Good Bahrain. With more than 200 expected attendees, this is... And that's a horrible breath, isn't it? And I think what I can do there is actually just push delete. So without doing it too much, or else it will sound bad, about there, push the delete key. To the attendees, this is an exciting... And there we are. It's assuming we're happy with that, although I'm not at all. I'm sure you're getting bored with this script now. So we'll just click Save As. Oh, we don't even need to do that, do we? It's Control and Shift and S. So soon you'll get used to all these shortcuts. The thing is, if you are still in an anti-keyboard shortcut frame of mind, just think, I bet you already use shortcuts in your Word documents. The good news is Adobe Audition supports the basic select, cut and paste controls for both Mac and Windows, as you would use in a basic Word or text document. So in Waveform View and with a file open, to select everything in the whole file, it will be holding Command or Control plus A. I'll do that now. Look at that. Easy, eh? And just click anywhere to get out of it. To copy not the whole lot, but just an area of audio, say this particular bit here, say, just to listen to it, push spacebar. This is the Palpet Parent Tree Share. Yes, whatever. So we want that. For example, we just want to copy that. So you simply go Command or Control plus C. So we've now copied it. All right. Then you open up the file you want to paste this section in by simply double-clicking what's on the left-hand side. We'll go to this one here and say I want to put it in here. You select that, and then you simply push Control or Command V. And there we go. It's pasted in. We can hear it. It's all just pasted. Click outside it to get rid of the selection. By robots. This is the PAL. There we go. So it's very easy to do that. Pasting the audio in. It's very similar to doing that with text. Now, if you're taking a piece of audio from a file you definitely don't need again, maybe it's a scratch recording to help correct a mistake, you can highlight the audio, then hold Command and Control and click X. Look, I'll do that now for this particular, this dog thing that I've just put in, right? I'm highlighting it again, and this time, instead of Control C, it's Control Command X, and it's gone again. So why would you actually need this? Well, look, let's say I'm recording a conversation script with my female voice partner. So it's a male-female chat for a couple of minutes, whatever. She's already recorded her sections and she's gone, all right? She's gone off for a tea. So I open that file with all the sections in our soon-to-be conversation. Then I record my parts of the conversation, leaving gaps. Then I highlight her replies or parts of conversation and click Command or Control X. It's still in the memory as it would be with Command or Control C, and I can simply select the gap in my recording and click Command or Control V to paste it in. But when I go back to Katie's recording, the last one used is not there anymore because I did X. So it's easy to identify her next part to use. Once you've finished, just don't save her file or you'll end up with nothing. Just close it or crash out of Audition, start again, which actually you should, for RAM purposes, finish in Audition a couple of times a day anyway. So the basic copy and pasting of audio is very similar to the way that you use shortcuts in a Word or text document. Delete key on your keyboard also deletes any audio you've highlighted. And also a new shortcut, or maybe you haven't heard of this one, Command or Control plus T, or Trim T, is useful when you just want to trim a file and leave everything in the middle. I'll show you this soon. By the way, if you're ever asked to do conversations with people where two voice artists have recorded at different times, firstly, the microphones and studio acoustics must match or it will sound awful. And also the mixing really ought to be done in multi-track. As in multi-track you can overlay voices, it sounds far more natural. Even if it's just the incoming breath of the next person speaking, it sounds better. There's a whole section on multi-track later on. But what I've just showed you is a very cheap and cheerful way of hacking together male or female or whatever, or bits of your own, but from different files. Now I'm going to talk about shortcuts. You're welcome to copy these or use your own, I won't be offended. My full personal list I had on my wall to begin with, but now is firmly in my brain, is 1 for normalize, and that's usually to -3 dB, although obviously you can change it any time, but most clients want -3 dB normalize, so that's 1. When I click 2, I get the multi-band compressor. The great thing with the new multi-band compressor is that it also highlights everything. It assumes you want everything, unless you've already highlighted just a little bit you want to compress. So it's just 2 and then enter, 2 and then enter, and it's done. 3 is pitch shifter. I've got various presets like the Santa voice that makes me sound even more like Santa, ho ho ho. And I've got a semi-Santa as well, and various other things for pirates and whatever. But that's very useful, so I use that a lot personally. Maybe you won't, but for me it's 3, and again it's 3, enter. 4, it's speed up or slow down. Usually it's speeding up, as clients give you more words than can normally be fitted in what they want. Slowing down isn't really that successful, even though Audition can offer it, simply because it sounds a bit artificial and stretched and nasty. Speed up seems to work okay. 5 for me is generate silence. So here it's stuck on, well, 0.5 of a second, simply because that's what most people want at the beginning of every file. It sort of just gets over the transients of the system, whatever. So 5, enter, and obviously you can change it as much as you want. For example, if a client wants you to put 3-second gaps in between each sentence, do whatever they ask you to do. 6 is a shortcut I don't use that much, equalization, bass and treble. Normally if you're doing something like a character voice or someone on the telephone or something like that, that's where you need it. Normally you send things without equalization, completely EQ flat. But 6 is my EQ. 7 is generate tone. Sometimes auditions ask for 1 kilohertz tone in between your takes, so this is where you get your beep from. 8 is denoise. This is so magical. In the old days, last year, we used to highlight a bit of noise. Say you got some hiss or something, or I don't know, distant traffic noise or a hum or some nonsense like that. You'd find where you weren't speaking, or whoever was doing the voiceover, and you have to highlight that, you have to put it into memory, and 8 does it all for you. For me, 8. It's denoise. It's quite a new thing, and it is absolutely magical. I'll explain about that when we talk about getting rid of defects. F is fade and amplify. Right now, you'd mostly want to use fade because amplify you've already sort of done in normalize really. But for example, when you're getting rid of breaths, so in the breath chapter, I'll tell you all about why you need to fade some breaths down rather than cut them out completely or delete them. X is silence. That's where when you highlight something, you push the X key, it goes to completely nothing. So it's not the same as deleting the sound. You are putting silence in there if there needs to be a certain amount of silence. So you highlight what you want silenced, and then you go X. And reverb is, for me, on R. Z for me is auto click pop, which I don't use that often, but sometimes if a sneaky little lip smack got through and it's a tiny little spike, sometimes this can get rid of it. So that's my own personal shortcut list, but don't forget the others we've already used. Command or Control plus N for new file. Zoom in and out, you use the scroll wheel. Some people still like using the plus and minus on the keyboard, it's up to you. There's Shift plus spacebar to record, spacebar to stop. The transport section has some useful shortcuts too you might want to add on to your repertoire, darling. There's J, K and L. J is shuttle left, K is shuttle stop, and L is shuttle right. The home key of your keyboard moves the playhead to the start of the waveform or the multitrack. And the end button moves the playhead to the end of the waveform or multitrack. Alt plus the arrow key nudges to the right, Alt plus the left arrow key nudges to the left. You're welcome to download and print out my list, customize it as you wish. But hang on, how do you customize it? Well, there's another shortcut, Alt plus K. Just remember that, Alt plus K, and you get this fabulous interface. My, doesn't that look impressive? So there's your keyboard there. But what on earth do you have to do here? Look, I know your mind is probably scrambled already. Just try and remember the shortcuts I've gone through already, and I'll show you how to customize to get my shortcuts, or the ones you particularly want for your projects, in the next chapter. Have a break, have a coffee. I think you deserve it.